of traditional vending. And this guy went from barely getting by to making $900,000 taking advantage of it.
Not too long ago, I was literally only making $1,200 a month with my full-time job.
How much do you need to start?
My first machine payment was only $117 a month, and I didn't even have to pay for the first 90 days.
How much can you make?
Our best location does $17,000 a month. Some businesses will pay you to put your machines at their locations.
And is the income as passive as they claim?
Because of my setup, I only spend about an hour a week on my routes.
That's it?
That's it.
I came to Eugene, Oregon to take Mike's step-by-step blueprint so that you and I can get in on this early.
These machines didn't even exist a year ago.
This is
all right, Mike, tell us a little bit about your vending machine business and the inspiration that came. What's the story behind it? How did you get started?
Yeah, so I was actually in the Denver airport one time and I went to a vending machine at 11 p.m. and I went to get this bottle of water that was like $8. And I knew that bottle of water cost 20 cents at Costco. And I was like, I'm paying massive margins on this bottle of water. And then someone is sleeping at home making money off of me while this machine does this. And it was just like an aha moment of like, this is a fascinating business model. I got to learn about it. So I just went down this path and just started diving into it.
All right, tell us about the scale of your operations as it is today and what makes you guys so different.
Yeah, so we just installed 2 more machines this week, and now I think we're up to over 80 machines. Our goal is to do about $1,000 a machine, but we're over $75,000 a month just in top line revenue. Yeah, and what makes us so different is we're all in on innovation. So we're doubling down on AI. We're the traditional vending word we don't even use. We like to use unattended retail because, as you can see back here, we can do items that don't traditionally fit in a normal vending machine. It's all about what the consumers today want, and so that's what we're focused on, is using these smart machines and AI that can ultimately put anything in one of these micro markets or smart machines.
What about employees as far as operations? How many you got working on the team?
Probably 6 employees. I don't care about the machine number as much as I care about the revenue. So I would love to get to 150 in the next 6 to 12 months. Yeah.
So we've done another interview with vending machines, and you guys should check that out. It's a great episode as well. But I've never heard of smart AI innovation when it comes to these vending machines. So I want to help you restock the next machine that we're going to go check out. So what are we grabbing before we head out of here?
Yes, we're going to grab a couple of our top sellers, chips, some candy, some energy drinks, and Gatorade, and then let's rock.
All right. So this is the first apartment complex, huh?
Yeah.
It's beautiful here. I mean, you got everything the students need, I guess. What is this? This is not an old school vending machine that I'm used to seeing.
It looks like a bookshelf, doesn't it?
Wow, this looks clean.
Fun fact, traditional machines are dead. So we actually had a traditional machine in one of our apartment complexes. It was doing at max sales $1,200 a month. We swapped it out with one of these bad boys. Right away, it started hitting $3,000 a month.
Wow.
First impression, it looks just like a fridge. Scan the card, we'll try this a little later. Open the door. Yeah, won't let you open until you got my money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then basically what? Pick whatever I want and walk away with it?
Yeah, so there's AI cameras in every single corner, and this is where on the back end you'll see later, but we have planograms that will actually outline where each product is, and whatever you grab, the AI cameras will charge you. So we maximize all, like you'll even see the Red Bulls in the corner and everything, because we want to.
That is genius. Wow. So whatever you grab, the AI camera will charge you. So it's not actually in your interest stealing, because you didn't steal, because you're going to get charged for it. Oh my days, mind blowing. Wow, this is giving me ideas.
We'll charge you. So we maximize all, like you'll even see the Red Bulls in the corner and everything, because we want to maximize as much space as possible to drive as much sales with our customers.
Let's talk briefly, Mike, about startup cost and then how you secured your first location. What's the story on that?
Yeah, so startup cost with this machine is around $7,000 to $8,000, and we like to finance our machines over 60 months. So we'll take that $8K, spread that over 60 months. Your machine payments around, let's say, $150, $175.
That's nothing.
And then we'll use the cash flow to pay it off. Our goal is to pay off all our equipment within 18 months.
And what was your first location?
Our first location was an apartment complex. I actually walked into there right before COVID, didn't even know where to go find a machine, didn't even have an LLC at the time, didn't even have a business name. And I just went in and they were like, they don't want their residents going to the 7-Eleven when they're at 11 p.m. They want to keep everything in-house just for liability reasons. And this beautiful space, it's all about luxury amenities, hence why they would allow something like this, but not a traditional machine.
So you just went in and asked?
Yeah.
Did you have any prior experience? How did you learn on how to operate a vending machine business?
So I had no vending experience. Once I got that first yes, I was like, thank God for YouTube, because I just started watching YouTube videos on repeat, everything from the best machines that people would do breakdowns of on YouTube, but also like how to set the prices, how to install the machine. The whole thing was self-taught.
Wow. So nowadays, yeah, you could find anything and everything on YouTube. By the way, guys, did you know we have a complete step-by-step blueprint on how to start a profitable...
Let's skip that because we don't want it to distract, right?
75 cents per energy drink.
Okay.
So let's just
almost
say,
$8 or something.
Yeah.
How much of it do you get to keep? I mean, I know every product's a little different margin, but that one specifically.
Yeah, so I think Alani's around $1.35 a can. So we're almost 2.5x what it costs us. Yeah.
That's amazing. It seems like every product in these vending machines is going to be at least 2 to 2.5x.
Yeah, and in fact, drinks
less.
can actually get upwards of, like this Crystal Geyser here, we get that for 16 cents, and we probably sell that for $1.50 in this machine.
Oh, wow.
And also with drinks, they have way longer shelf life, so the margins are always just a lot higher than candy and snacks.
Stuff.
The amount of money that I will pay for convenience, right? Because if you think about it, I have to get in my car, to drive over to the store, I have to walk in the store, buy the darn water. It's like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to spend $2 on a bottle of water. So when it comes to product selection, how do you go about in different locations? Or is it all the same and then you tweak it, analyze it, etc.?
Yeah, it's definitely not all the same. The key is like understanding your demographic. So in this case, if this is a college apartment, one of the big things that college kids love these days is a lot of these sugar-free energy drinks. But also when we look at the candy side, these kids love these huge bags of candy to take ultimately that whole idea of I want bigger items and I want to like snack on it over time versus just like an initial rush of like a candy bar. So it's all about understanding the demographics of the location. So we have an apartment complex that has a lot older demographic, and we have to stock it with Diet Cokes and Snickers because those people absolutely love the old school candy. And you'll see here, we literally throw Snickers in one row in the corner, where that other location will have 3 rows of Snickers because it'll sell out so quickly.
Take us through your year-over-year revenue and maybe any significant moments when you did something which then changed the trajectory of revenue.
Yeah, so every year we've been lucky enough to scale our route with more locations, but where we've really kind of found the sweet spot is when you get in with a location that's really happy, always asking for intros to other properties. So like even this property here, they have 3 more of this property in Eugene, and they have 200 other properties across the country. So a lot of the kind of our growth, we really try to take advantage of our current customers because these property managers like to move around. And so we're not afraid to ask for warm intros to their sister properties, whether it's a medical facility that's got 6 other urgent cares in town or an apartment like this that's got 2 sister properties across campus.
In terms of numbers, what does that look like?
Yeah, so when I first started with the demands of our W-2 kind of job, I had 3 locations, and my goal was to do over $1,000 per month in revenue per location. My first machine, I got up to $1,200. Second and third one right around the same thing, so that's 3,600 times 12,
about 40 grand a year.
Okay. And then that first property again introed me to 4 of their sister properties, and then in year 2 I just kept scaling my route, and the metric is we want $1,500 per machine per month. So like now that we have we just installed those machines earlier this week, we're up to 80 machines. We want to be up over 100 grand here pretty soon on that.
So you're pushing well over $1 million for 25, I guess.
Oh yeah, we'll be well over that.
What's the bare minimum that someone needs to get started in this business?
It's amazing.
How do they get started?
Yeah, so the first metric is always you want that first location to say yes before you commit to any investments on the capital or the product side. So once you have that first yes from a property, the bare minimum to get started, I mean, you're talking less than $1,000. Like this machine here costs $8,000, but you finance it, your upfront capital, you're looking at, your monthly payment of $150, $175. And then when you talk about the product to stock that thing, $300 to $400 worth of inventory. So just to get started, let's say you insure it for $20, let's say you get an LLC, like up front, you don't even need $1,000 to get this machine up and running if you finance them like we do.
All right, blitz time with Mike. You ready, Mike?
Let's do it.
What's the weirdest item you sell or thought about selling in a vending machine?
Probably makeup wipes.
What's your personal favorite snack from your vending machines?
Ooh, I love the protein bars with high protein, no carbs.
High protein, no carbs. All right, what's the best piece of business advice you've ever received?
Take action.
What's the most money one of your vending machines has made in a single day?
Let's go.
Probably $900.
If you could sell only one product in your machines, what would it be?
0-calorie energy drink.
Last one, what's your number one rule for success?
I mean, you got to wake up every day, and at the end of the day, the people that are the most consistent are the most successful. So for me, it's all like 2 lessons are being professionally persistent. Humans buy from humans, and everything's about the art of the follow-up, and people don't follow up anymore. So I would think about that a lot. Like even, you know, we were talking about cars earlier, like the cars I buy are from the sales reps that actually follow up with me and stay on me. So I think about that a lot.
Before the vending machines, the 6-figure revenue, and the financial freedom, Michael had to get his business set up the right way, because building a passive income machine starts with one thing: a solid foundation. That's where Busy comes in. Busy has helped over 1 million entrepreneurs launch their businesses, tracking to operating agreements. It certainly looks quite different from what we've seen previously.
Yeah.
Can you introduce us to kind of Micro Mart?
This one's refrigerated,
Okay.
But we also will do like stack multiple next to each other, and we'll have those turned off like a fridge and a pantry side.
How much of a difference does a good location make versus a bad location in terms of revenue? And
Big
can you tell us
difference,
a
I
little
think.
bit about your drive-by strategy?
Oh, I mean, it's huge. Like if you have a bad location, you're probably only doing a couple $100 a month, and
Ouch.
they're just scraping by. Where like these good locations, I mean, we have the location that does 17 grand, and it's kind of like a unit.
17,000?
If you have a
That's
bad
crazy.
location, you either need to get them to market it more and help send out flyers and things like that, because like that $300 a month type
Doesn't
of,
work.
it doesn't work.
Okay. What about the drive-by strategy? What is that all about?
Oh man.
When looking for new locations, obviously.
Yeah, so even before you do a pop-in or think like, oh, it's got to be an apartment complex or an urgent care, like one of the things I love to do is just go by the property and see if the parking lot's full. And like people don't understand this, but like when we get
I've checked out another video, not similar to this, but vending machine related, and she mentioned the exact same thing. It was a girl by the name of Megan. She mentioned the exact same thing. If the car park is full, that tends to be a good sign. So I'm surprised that he mentioned
you
the
get
same
hit up
thing
by
as well.
businesses that are like, hey, we want to put a micromart in our employee break room, and they'll like say, oh yeah, people come in on Fridays, and it's like just drive by there on Friday at like 2 o'clock and see is the parking lot full, because if it's not full, they're not going to really tell you the honest truth on how full and how active that foot traffic is going to be for your machine.
How do you secure locations? I have a ton of questions there, so I'm going to throw a couple at you. Like, do you pay them? Is there profit sharing? When is that reasonable to bring up? Do you pay for the electricity to run this thing? Like, can you just highlight some of the important things, and what do we lead with when we're looking for a location?
Yeah, so the first step when leading with securing a location is always you want to have a marketing flyer that has examples of these types of machines, because a lot of these properties, when they hear the word vending, they think of the old school motors, they think of the codes, they think of the big bulky eyesore looking machine. That's not what they want in their lobby or in their gym. Then when it comes to actually like locking in that location, we never lead with revenue share, hardly ever. We actually lead with no cost to them. So this $6,000 machine, we lead with like, hey, we'll install this for you. We'll handle the stocking, the maintenance, all the repairs at no cost to you. But if they do ask about revenue share, that's when you can get really creative to scale your route. So like one of the properties that asked us about revenue share recently, we just straight up said, hey, we're not going to give you revenue share until you enter us to 4 other sister properties.
What needs to be at a property for that location to work? I'm guessing Wi-Fi, you got the payment system.
Yep.
Have you come across great locations where that wasn't available and you're like, shoot, how do I fix that?
Yeah, so one of the things I always recommend is like you want to actually not use their Wi-Fi, because you don't want to be dependent on, is this a dead spot in this gym? Is this
Okay.
actually good? So we actually there's a router and on the back of this machine, and we do our own cell tower router. So this thing will go up to a cell tower, and we like to do a router that will we'll plug in 2 SIM cards. So we'll do, like, let's say Verizon and AT&T, because different places have stronger signals, and that way if it loses the Verizon signal, the router will actually kick over to the SIM card with AT&T, because you want this thing connected at all times, because that's how the transactions happen.
If you could today start a business like this, what location would be an absolutely phenomenal location to secure?
Yeah, so when we started down this path, we kind of got down the apartment niche, but what I'm starting to realize is it's all about foot traffic. How often are people coming? Like, I would rather have an urgent care with maybe 5 to 10 workers, but 80 visitors that's open 24/7 all week than an office building that's got 300 employees, but they work from home Monday and Fridays, and they're only open 9 to 5. So literally the only time you can do sales is 9 to 5, Tuesday through Thursday. And so you're basically just boxed yourself in at 3 days a week, and then it's like you're off the rest of 4.
Have you ever had a machine totally fail on you? Why? What's the lesson that you've learned earlier?
Oh man, this is like bringing me back to when I first got involved with vending in that property. It was like, hey Mike, we're ready to move forward. I went and tried to save $1 by buying a machine off Craigslist. I saved $2,000 by buying a used machine. I was like, sweet, instead of paying 6, I'm only paying $4,000. Literally, this machine shows up, everything's hunky-dory. Within 6 months, the machine broke down and I had to go buy a brand new machine anyway. So ever since then, I'm only buying new machines that are under warranty.
No refunds on that one,
oh, no,
obviously,
that was
right?
a used machine
now
on the
this one
secondary
costs you
market.
10 grand.
Yeah, exactly, 10 grand instead of the, yeah, exactly.
So I'm curious to go check out one of your few remaining traditional machines, which you said is just across the street, right?
Right across the street.
Let's go check it out, talk about maybe why you're replacing it and the benefits of doing that.
Let's do it.
Cool.
It's
All
a
right,
really good
here's
video.
the...
So I'm sure you've noticed I didn't really want to interrupt this video a bunch just for the viewers experience for you guys. I wanted to give my take more at the end of the video. That's the plan, but I've got something that I want to say, but I'm just going to save it and then for the end.
It's not the very traditional one. I mean, it's a little modernized.
A little modernized, but it's still traditional. You still got the codes, and you still got to enter in your card every single time you want to buy something.
Gotcha. What a weird location, though. We're like in the basement. Wouldn't you say this would be better in the entrance of the apartment complex?
The great thing about this location and why it does so well is everyone has to park in the parking garage. And so everyone has to come through these doors to get on the elevator, and this machine crushes it because of that.
Let's just quickly touch on pricing again. What's important when it comes to pricing the product correctly, especially for those who are just starting out?
Yeah, so the biggest trick when understanding pricing dynamics is actually thinking about what do these items cost at the local gas station. So whether you live in the South or you live in the Northwest or anywhere in the country, the first thing I recommend is like, okay, this Starburst, I think it costs me $1. Maybe I'll charge $2. Well, what I'll do is I'll actually go by the gas station and see what does that Starburst actually cost. And maybe we will even mark it up a quarter from the gas station's prices just because of the convenience of not having to go there.
Is this business as passive as advertised? Like, how many hours a week do you work?
Yeah, I mean, I spend probably an hour on this route a week max.
What?
Yeah, I
Are you
think
sure there's no zeros behind the one?
100%. Systems are so crucial to making things passive, and like even we know every single week when our delivery driver is coming with all of our product to the warehouse. It's always Mondays between 9 and 11. We know when we need to go by each machine. So like this machine might be on like a Monday, Thursday schedule, so we can actually build out systems before we just start trying to hire as much help as possible and literally throw dirt at the wall and see what sticks.
In terms of overhead, where are you at? Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, so a good margin when you're building these routes is you want to shoot for 50% profit. So when you think of a route that's doing, let's just even break it down by the machine. So this machine, let's say it's doing $1,500 a month. So that's probably going to have 30% COGS. Let's just say 33% to shoot high. So $9.99 for that credit card reader. Maybe your machine payment's $120. And right there, if you're doing the stocking yourself, your margins are actually closer to 60-65%. But if you hire an operator like me to make things passive, you're looking at around 45 to 50% margins on that.
What if you could launch your own vending business in just 10 days? Inside Uplip Academy. So this is actually a medical facility, or is it like a full-on blown hospital?
No, it's a medical facility.
And these are the two You call this a micro market.
Yeah.
Why does it have that title? Obviously, we have the drinks, we have the snacks.
Yeah, it's more like a mini market that people can put
It's
whatever they
complete.
want in here to ultimately get that feel of just a micro market brought to your building.
What makes a medical facility like this extremely ideal for a vending machine, and what other businesses did you find to do well as well?
Well, the thing I love about these types of locations is even if you're coming in to see your heart doctor at cardiology or you're going up to the third floor for x-rays, is you're coming through this main lobby. And so this main lobby has a ton of foot traffic. There's people coming in and out of here all times of the day for different reasons, but yet they're going to get the same access
foot traffic
and visibility to this type of micro market.
If you're inspired by Michael's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Every bit of engagement helps us bring on more incredible guests like Michael.
Subscribe and like, guys.
I've got a question in terms of AI smart vending machines and how they're impacting the industry now. How do you see the future?
Yeah.
How can we take advantage of it moving forward?
Yeah, so the big thing with like micro markets, the number one concern has always been about theft. And now with these locked coolers, literally the AI cameras are just going to charge your card with whatever you grab. So if you try to ransack the fridge, you're going to get charged with that. But I think the next step too is there's such a revolution with unattended retail that you can start to take market share where places that already have vending machines are starting to get exposed to these micro markets and airports and stuff. So when you go to them, they want to swap out their current provider of the old school stuff with the new school stuff. Forbes just did a market analysis of unattended retail being a $40 billion industry in 2 years. And think about that.
Insane.
Whoever takes advantage now and grabs that market share is going to be not regretting it in 2 years.
Wow. So how much a system like that, Mike, would cost to set up? I mean, delivery, install?
Yeah, so 2 machines, we're looking at $6,000 a piece. Then you got the deliveries about $1,000. And then the interesting thing here is there was actually no outlet there. And so we actually offered ourselves to pay for the contractor to come in. So that was another $600. And then you got, let's say, $1,000 of inventory because those 2 machines hold a lot of inventory. So right there, you're looking at, $14,000, $15,000. Whether you finance or not is going to be up to you.
If you could go back to any point in your journey and change one thing, or is there anything you'd change?
I wish I would have actually joined like an academy or a community to actually streamline the process of this. Like I didn't know of any coaching to help these roadblocks and potholes that I drove through. Now I look back on it and I'm a huge believer.
Cool.
Oh, let's see.
This is basically your office, right? This is the hub of operations?
Yeah, we call it the whiteboard kingdom because I like to write a lot of ideas, make a few putts, and try to just kind of get all my thoughts written down. And
Gotta have this here.
yeah.
So let's specifically talk about how AI optimizes your vending machine business and what data is it tracking? I mean, there's probably a lot, but what do you want to highlight?
Yeah, so I think the first thing when you think of AI and ultimately that Coke you bought is like, how do they know what to charge your card when you grab that Coke? Because it's not like you're scanning that barcode.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that.
And so when you grab that Coke, the AI cameras will actually know, okay, the third row, third item from the left is what we should charge you. And so if we set that Coke in the planogram, the AI cameras will pull your activity from that machine and match it up with the Coke in the planogram and then what to charge you with that. I can see the machines, the stock levels. Yep, it's just traffic light, red, yellow, green. And then I can also see with our staff when we were just by there to stock, and we can go in and ultimately get ahead of that stocking. So before we even go to the property, just from our phone or behind a computer, we can go in and see what exactly do we need to take there,
and how much.
Load up our cart, exactly, and then we'll just restock it. It'll reset on the machine to show the stock levels from our dashboard. So like this machine here, we're there every other day, as you can see with the restocks. But other machines, we're there once a week or even once every 2 weeks if it's really slow. So that's the beauty of the analytics and being able to just see everything remotely.
Hold on, let me pause.
It's really slow. So that's the beauty of the analytics and being
down. Wow, sales after discount 56K, transactions 10K, average transaction is 558, 2.8 customers, and then it's breaking it down even further, 1.6, 1.1, 2.3, 2.4, the highest so far, another 2.4 day there again, sales by category, that is. This is truly amazing, man.
Being able to just see everything remotely before we actually
sales by day of week. Wow.
have to go there and see what's empty.
Wow, it's amazing because there's no way you can do any of this the old school way.
No way.
So this is certainly a game changer. Like I mentioned very first in the beginning. Wow, I'm blown away. What's one thing or a couple things that AI specifically gave you insight into the business that helped increase profits? Maybe something you didn't know when you got started, but you learned eventually.
Yeah, so the beauty with these machines and the analytics is we can really like analyze the data and chop it up any way we want. And so one of the things we've noticed with like some of these apartment complexes, for example, that are higher end is people want the premium product. We see that all the time now with the analytics where we can really dive into this marketing psychology of like how people purchase and then double down on what works. So drinks are selling like hotcakes. We might move some of the food shelves off and add more drinks to that type of location.
Yeah, keep it exciting.
Exactly.
Stay away from the boring.
Yeah, and use this analytics we've never had before with the old school machines.
So I heard you say this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? And it isn't. What's your take on how fast anyone can get out of their 9-to-5 and pursue this industry and start their own vending business?
Yeah, so the first advice I like to give people is what you put into it is what you get out. It's very similar to baseball in that, you know, you might do 10 pop-ins, you might go talk to 10 buildings and 3 might say yes, and that's like an all-star in baseball, right? Batting 300. The more at bats and the more you actually get out there and start to speed this process up is ultimately what's going to accelerate you being able to leave that 9-to-5 for me, I started with just as a side hustle with 2 to 3 locations. And then those 2 to 3 locations introed us to a couple other locations. And then I was like, holy cow, we have something here. And then that's what led me to being able to make that jump from my 9-to-5 full time. So it's not even this whole like, oh, the market's saturated. It's like you're bringing something to your market.
There you go. That's key. Mike, what's a common business mistake that new vending machine business owners make that could easily be avoided?
Oh my gosh, this drives me nuts, but people love to buy machines before they have locations where they're gonna put them. And so I'll get people reach out to me all the time. Hey Mike, I got 4 machines. And the first question I ask is, hey, what's the revenue of those machines? They're sitting in my garage. I'm like, why did you go buy 4 machines and they're not even out making you any money right now? Like the first thing you need to do is go find the locations and then get the machines after the fact.
Sign the deal, right?
Exactly, sign the deal.
How many pop-ins do you have to do before you get a yes when you're looking for new locations?
I would probably say like 5 to 10. If you're doing cold emails or cold calling, you're gonna have less of a hit rate, but like pop-ins and face-to-face, just you can't beat it. It always creates more urgency than a cold email.
Do you find sometimes you have to follow up? You know, in sales, that's a big thing, right?
All the time, because at the end of the day, like these decision makers, if you think of like a property manager or a head of HR at a business, they're not waking up thinking about vending. They're waking up putting out fires with their current job. So you constantly gotta follow up in ways that are gonna try to create some urgency. And that's why pop-ins are so valuable, because you can just go there. They always have a front desk person, and it always just creates that urgency.
Yeah, and it's not like it's costing them anything, right? It's creating a better experience for the tenant bases here as well. So
especially like if you look at this building, the thing they love about the machine in here is it creates foot traffic into the social lounge. So it gets people wanting to come in here to grab an Alani and play some pool or play some video games, or that whole experience of the amenity lounge.
Are there any benefits to still use the old machines versus the new ones, or are they just simply outdated and simply dead? Or will be?
It's a good question. So the problem with these new machines is just the technology and all the AI cameras and everything that's really sensitive with the sensors. So actually these would not hold up outside. Give it a couple years and it'll make this thing plexiglass proof, and then we can throw it outside or something.
Let's talk about competitors. Have you ever had somebody steal your location? What does that look, sound like, and how do you handle it as a business person?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the paranoia of building a business. You're gonna, if you're successful, you got people that they're coming to ultimately take your route. So I think for me, it comes down to communication and customer service. At the end of the day, if you're over delivering on service and keeping this bad boy stocked, coming by to say hi to the property manager every time you're here, or the business owner, if it's a business where you have a location, is just comes down to over communication and providing great customer service like any business.
Yeah, just boils down to relationship.
Exactly.
Be cool to see you show up with your daughters, say hi, and all those fun stuff.
100%. Humans buy from humans.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Are there any fees that owners don't expect and are surprised about?
I don't think people will realize, like, these AI cameras, there's a software fee to those. So I like to budget around 50 to 60 bucks per machine on those type of fees. And then, you know, you also have data. We love to not relying on the building's Wi-Fi. So we pay about 2 to 3% by providing our own data to these machines so they can connect to cell towers without relying on the building.
It's just minimal cost, but obviously.
Yeah, they're just unexpected, and they're not like part of the hard costs like labor or cost of goods would be.
Okay. What's a category for the vending machine business that you think is highly underrated, but on the flip side, very, very profitable?
Yeah, so we look at a category that we love to implement is things like what we call incidentals. And when we think of incidentals, we think of those things that might not be everyday things like Tide Pods. I mean, we sell Tide Pods for 14 bucks and they cost us $2.75. But these people that need Tide Pods in their apartment, they're going to come down and get a bag. Anything like Dayquil, tampons, condoms, makeup wipes, all these things that have high margins, but when people want them, they're willing to pay anything for them. They don't even look at the price. Phone chargers, any of those incidentals that are, you don't really think about when you think of traditional vending.
Wow. Yeah, the whole world is open as far as vending machines and what you can put inside, especially when it comes to the tech that you're using.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, I know you have kids and I have kids, but like when I go through the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, I'm like, they have Lego machines that are vending machines that have nothing in the machine less than 75 bucks. But think about it. All these parents traveling are probably like, well, I'll pay 75 bucks for Legos for my kid to be occupied on a flight.
Yeah, that makes sense. If I gave you $10,000 today to start a vending machine business from scratch, how would you spend it for the fastest growth?
Yeah, so this is going to be a little contrarian. Most people would think, oh, we'll use it on a machine or to buy product. I would actually go from it in a way of like, what's going to get me the most locations the quickest? So I'd actually build up an incentive structure and pay people to do pop-ins for me at the types of locations that I like to be in with our machines. And create a permission structure that would be $1,000 for every property that they do a pop-in that wants to move forward with us.
It's a little rich, no?
No, because I think like if you think about that property's value, I mean, this property here cash flows, whatever it is, 30 grand a year. I mean, there's some serious value in just land grabbing.
Wow. So get a bunch of college students and say, hey, execute on these properties. Here's the list.
Give them a marketing flyer and say, use it as a leave behind. If they ask you about revenue share or they ask you a hard question, you can literally say, my business partner handles that side of the business. Let's schedule a meeting. And then that's worth your time to come in and close it.
Wow. I love it. Is it better to buy a route if you have the cash, or is it better just to start from scratch and kind of learn your way in the business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's going to ultimately determine on the operator and what their kind of experience is. I always recommend if you've had no vending experience before and you're just getting into the game, like get a couple locations, even if it's with your kids, just to understand like everything that goes into that, because you're not just going to be able to like buy a route and delegate it. And so there's such a prime opportunity right now to buy routes at a discount from these baby boomers that are just trying to retire and get out from this business, and then ultimately add value. So I think of it as just like flipping a home. You buy these routes that got old school machines with old school $1.50 Diet Coke that's never caught up with inflation because they've always been scared to increase prices. Well, when you buy that route, you have so many ways to increase the valuation of that route by just putting in smart machines, adding in newer products, adding in all these incidentals, all these other things that just don't exist with traditional vending machines that these routes are selling.
How stressful is this business, would you say? Like, out of all the industries out there,
not stressful at all.
Not stressful.
I have real
a lot of moving pieces, staff, headache here, refill here.
If we run out of Snickers, they're just going to buy a Twix. Like at the end of the day, if the machine's down, it's not the end of the world. It's we're talking water and snacks. So from my side, it's like the most boring, simple saying that if the machine breaks down, they're just gonna have to pay extra or get in their car and go to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so if you're in a stressful environment at work and want to kind of shift gears a little bit and consider this, we've got it.
Let's see what the comment section is saying, because I believe that was one of the best videos I've seen so far. What happens when people block the camera? Oh, these are some good questions. Cameras to take more items. We didn't think about that, huh? What's a good profit sharing? Let me zoom into it, because I'm not wearing my glasses. Good profit sharing evaluation. Where are you getting your inventory? Can a customer take an item and put it back right away if they change their mind? Yeah, I assume so, because the camera will track it, as long as the camera's not blocked. But yeah, those were some good questions, I can't lie. For all those worried, if your debit card only has $5, the machine actually has a still MS that cut off, so the customers if you could. Oh, that's funny. That is hilarious. This works in the high. Okay, cool. Call me crazy, but what I took from this, no, you're not crazy. Be consistent. Keep moving forward. There are billions of good business ideas. 99% of us couldn't pull off without becoming consistent and moving forward each and every single day. Pretty much, I agree. I don't see anything wrong with that, or to call you crazy about. The whole video I gained. Well, what I gained from the whole video is, one, consistency, as you mentioned, but it's being creative, thinking outside of the box. If he didn't think outside of the box, he wouldn't be where he is, you know? And try and use what you have that's currently trending, not trending, but that's currently the hot thing. So in 5 years' time, it might not be AI anymore. It might be some, I don't know, it might be quantum computing. You need to think ahead and say, how can I use quantum computing in my business or in vending, whatever your business could be. Maybe you're a seamstress. You like to sew things. How can I use quantum computing for that? So whenever you start to think ahead of the time like this, you can't help but win, you know? It's all about winning, basically. That's it. This video exists because he's winning. If he wasn't winning, what are we gonna watch? It's not really, do you understand? So yeah, so this was very inspirational. I took a lot from this. I want to hear from you though. Let me know what you took in the comment section down below. Let me know what you learned from this. And yeah, share this video, like this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.